I am so glad that you're here because I am another TikToker who decided to launch into YouTube because my content has started to take up enough of my time that I want to get deeper into these topics that I cover. And what are these topics you cover, you might ask? I cover spirituality and lifestyles. I am a practicing root worker, and I also practice conjure. I get a little bit into hoodoo, but I'm always very cautious with that. But I have been practicing for a while now. I produced content on TikTok. I'm almost at 26,000 followers, which blows my mind. Just. And I'm also the awkwardest turtle. If you can't tell, I am a bisexual, so there will be finger guns. Lemon bars, probably. Lemon bars when we hit 1,000 followers. And I wanted, like I said, to start getting more into the meat of these topics, into the meat of magic and witchcraft, because this community has just exploded and gotten so huge, and I can't cover in depth these topics that I want to on TikTok, because, you know, you'll see somebody produce a series of 6 or 7 videos, or so 6 or 7 minutes, but with TikTok, the algorithms will make sure that those videos don't appear together. And so, you know, you could publish a whole series on high magic, but, you know, your first one's going to get good views, but the second one won't. So here we are. A little bit about myself before we launch in. Hi, I am the Witch's Librarian, or the Head Librarian. In real life, I go by James. My pronouns are he, him, just in case. And like I said, I've been practicing root work and conjure for a while now. And my spiritual journey has been fucking wild. That I started as an evangelical Christian. I then became Catholic voluntarily. I was a very, very angry atheist there for a while, and now I am the Head Librarian. And I have to say, if it hadn't have been for this fraternity that I had joined when I was 19, I would not be sitting here today. I would have persisted in being an atheist, and I would have walked away from spirituality altogether. It also helps me that I have a degree in philosophy from a local university here, and so that's largely what we're here to do. We are here to talk magic and witchcraft and high magic and low magic and philosophy. And it's all my opinion. I will provide good resources. I only provide good resources. But beyond that, what I say here is my own opinion. It has worked for me. I hope it works for you. And if it doesn't, that's fine. If you don't want to try it, that's fine too. But I want to talk a little bit more about that fraternity that I mentioned, because it was seminal in my own spiritual growth and where I am as a person now, because I joined when I was 19, like I said, because it is arguably the last great mystery school. I use great advisedly. It is the last mystery school in existence that I'm aware of. And yeah, when I joined, it was really disappointing because it was a bunch of old fogies sitting around drinking coffee, telling really, really terrible, not like haha terrible, but like terrible jokes. And so I worked with them for about 10 years up until March this year, actually. I was a member of the statewide organization that leads my state. And, you know, last year I had told the incoming statewide leader, Magnificent Overlord, we'll call him Magnificent Overlord. I told the incoming Magnificent Overlord, you know what, I'm tired, I'm done, I need a break, I need to step away. And he, being a friend, cajoled me into accepting another term. And that was a mistake, because I have been dealing with some stuff in my personal life. Apparently, I'm going to overshare in my first episode. Go me. In December last year, I was charged with a DUI. Utah has some of the strictest DUI laws in the state. I wasn't even driving at the time. And the other piece of information that's relevant is that within this organization, there is a member who is homophobic, who has been after me for years. And I finally decided to use our internal justice system to bring him into accountability. And so you can guess that my relationship with him is a little strained. And he showed up at one of my hearings, my second to last court hearing, before I disposed of this nonsense that I've been dealing with. And he showed up, to quote him, he showed up to support me and to show me that I'm not alone, which broke me. That broke my heart, because I wanted to believe it. I wanted to believe that so badly. But I would have been a fool to do so, because that would have been hand-waving away, you know, the last 5 or 6 years of history that we had together, that he would call me really horrible names behind my back. He would go after me for kissing my ex-boyfriend in public, and I would have been an idiot to believe him. And so, rather than allow him to control the rumor mill of our fraternity, I decided to get ahead of it and make just a Facebook post. I didn't talk about him, I didn't talk about the fraternity. I just told folks, here's what I've been going through. Here's what you say if you get pulled over. I hope this helps. And this was, I made the Facebook post 3 months, I think, after the initial charge had been filed. So I had been quite happy dealing with this on my own. So long story short, the magnificent overlord who cajoled me into taking another year texted me and told me to take it down. I was really sore about that, but I took it down, and ultimately it culminated in them saying, oh, we just think you're too busy, so we think you should step out. And I told him, let me have some time to think about it. And he said, it's not a request, it's a command, that you are too busy, you are stepping out. And in retrospect, I really wish they had just said, we don't think having someone with a DUI in the statewide organization, statewide governing organization, is the right image that we want to give. That would have hurt, but it would have hurt less than having these friends, people who I thought were friends, having people who I thought were friends just, they didn't ask if I was okay. They didn't see what was going on. It was immediately, get the fuck out. And then to have them temper that with the base alloy of hypocrisy that has further broken my heart and just led me to understand that it was time for me to move on from this organization. Like, I will maintain my membership. I may someday go back. But as it stands right now, I am moving on. I'm healing, I'm growing. I sound like a middle-aged divorced woman. I look like one. But honestly, it's been a good thing, because it turns out they're right. I am super busy cultivating my image and producing content here on the YouTube, which now I sound, again, like a middle-aged divorcee. But I wanted to transition over to YouTube because I love producing content on TikTok. I love the friends I've made over there. But like I said, I am a fairly educated individual, and there are just all of these really cool topics to talk about that you can't fit into 60 seconds. And so that's why I'm here. Because rather than having 60 seconds, I want to have the option of doing 60 minutes. Not actually. I would completely understand if you just went right on by. But that's why I'm here, because I want to produce meaningful and valuable content for you, regardless of where you are in your practice. And so that is why I want to chat with you about the 3 things any newbie should know when they're starting out. And I want to preface this, that this is just my own opinion. It is stuff that I have learned. It is not the gospel truth. I am not the 5 muses. It is hopefully tips and tricks that will help you. And if it's not, that's fine, I understand. You don't have to do anything I say in my videos. But without further ado, the first thing anyone should know when they are first starting to study, not even practice, but just to study paganism and witchcraft and magic, is to study. You will have to hold yourself accountable in that arena. You're not going to have a teacher hovering over you. Your parents aren't going to hold on to your allowance if you don't study. You're not going to lose your job if you don't study. But you are ultimately responsible for your own progress. And nobody told me that. It seems really obvious now, years into it. But nobody told me that I would have to say, okay, I am mindfully taking a couple hours of my Saturday and dedicating it to just doing tarot or just reading books or just looking into that one really obscure thing. And that was a hard lesson for me. I'm an Aquarius, I'm an earth sign, toss. And it's hard for me to take that time to be mindful about that. But I hope that me talking about it will, help remind you that yes, somewhere there is a book sitting there collecting dust, and you don't have to read the whole thing cover to cover. Just pick it up and read a page or two. You don't have to read it all at once. Take your time, but continue moving forward. And in your movement forward, I hope that you cover the basics first, which is my second trick. Focus on the basics. Focus on protection, focus on meditation, focus on grounding, focus on divination, focus on learning myth and folklore, not to immediately start venerating deities and spirits, but to just understand this deep and vibrant and historical world that we get to enjoy, largely without persecution. But this amazing universe that has been built up by our ancestors over the centuries. Take your time and enjoy that and learn it and love it. And understand that this isn't Christianity. You don't have to say, well, I choose the Hellenistic pantheon by golly, and I shall always be the Hellenistic pantheon follower. Study the Hellenistic pantheon, but don't be afraid to say, you know what, I've studied it, not for me. The worst thing that will have happened to you, is that you will have become more knowledgeable. And there is no such thing as knowing too much. Which is the third thing. Be mindful of your ego. I will be completely honest, it has been really, really hard for me to keep my ego in check, especially with the following that I have gained for some reason on TikTok. Like I have always said, I'm just a schmuck with a camera, and for some reason people like it. But it's hard when you start practicing and doing more advanced things. It's hard to say, I'm still just a student, which is what, like I said in the first point, it is what you always should be. You should always be a student. And yeah, there's upperclassmen who may cop an ego or cop an attitude, but in witchcraft, that's dangerous. That is downright dangerous to have an ego. And so yeah, I've been knocked down a couple pegs more than a few times by my ancestors, by spirits I've been working with, by my patroness, when my ego has gotten too big that it has blinded me. And so it's not always fun, it's not always easy, but remember, you are a student. And there is no such thing as knowing too much. So, in your magical journey, regardless of where you are, if you are an advanced practitioner, aces, I would love to meet you. I would love to talk to you. I would love to get to know other creators on YouTube. I would love to get to know other advanced practitioners around the world. Feel free to reach out to me. All of my stuff, all of my socials are down below in the description. Give me a follow on Instagram. I always welcome messages. Feel free to shoot me a message. To intermediate and beginner practitioners, witches, whatever you want to call yourself. If you want me to cover a topic, please, please, please reach out. My goal here is to produce videos that are helpful and valuable to you in your practice. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to, not every video is going to be worth something to you, but in the long run, you may find little nuggets that you want to be explicated by someone, and I am always, always happy to take suggestions. One, because I'm lazy, and two, there are things that I would have never thought of. So if you want to see me make a video on something, feel free to drop a comment down below, tell me what you want to see, and I appreciate you spending some time with me today.